Have you ever noticed how uncomfortable silence can feel when you are alone? Not the peaceful kind of silence that rests the mind, but the kind that slowly reveals thoughts you usually avoid. Many people today live surrounded by constant noise, music playing in the background, messages arriving on their phones, videos filling every quiet moment. Yet when the distractions fade and they find themselves alone, something uneasy appears, a subtle feeling of emptiness, a quiet restlessness. But what if that feeling is not a problem to escape? What if it is an invitation? In Buddhist wisdom, solitude is not seen as loneliness. It is seen as a doorway, a space where you begin to meet yourself without the roles, expectations, and comparisons that fill everyday life. When you learn to be at peace in your own company, your happiness stops depending on circumstances. You no longer need constant distraction. You no longer feel incomplete when others are absent. You discover something quieter, but far more stable, a sense of inner companionship. In this reflection, we will explore 7 lessons inspired by Buddhist teachings that can help you find joy in your own company. Listen slowly. Allow these ideas to settle softly in your mind, because learning to enjoy your own presence may be one of the most important forms of freedom you will ever discover. Lesson 1. Stop treating solitude like something is wrong. The first step toward enjoying your own company is very simple. Stop assuming that being alone means something is missing. Modern culture rarely teaches us how to be comfortable with solitude. From a young age, we are surrounded by the idea that happiness happens in groups. Friends, partners, social gatherings, shared experiences. These things can be beautiful and meaningful, but when they become the only place where we believe happiness exists, something subtle happens. Being alone begins to feel like failure. You might notice thoughts like, everyone else seems to have people around them. Maybe I should be doing something more exciting. Why does this moment feel so empty? These thoughts appear quietly, but they shape how solitude feels. Instead of experiencing peace, you experience pressure. Instead of calm, you feel a sense that something should be different. Buddhist wisdom invites you to question this assumption. The Buddha often spoke about the mind's habit of comparing and judging experiences. The mind rarely allows a moment to simply exist as it is. It quickly labels things as good, bad, successful, lonely, meaningful, or empty. But solitude itself is not painful. The meaning we attach to it creates the discomfort. When you believe that being alone means you are lacking something, the mind begins searching for escape. You reach for your phone. You turn on noise. You distract yourself. The moment never has a chance to unfold. But imagine approaching solitude differently. Instead of asking, "Why am I alone?" try asking a gentler question. What becomes possible in this quiet space? When you remove the idea that solitude is a problem, something interesting happens. The pressure fades. You stop trying to fix the moment. You begin to notice things you usually overlook. The sound of your breathing, the feeling of stillness in a room, the subtle rhythm of your thoughts. These small experiences may seem insignificant, but they are the foundation of mindfulness. In Buddhist practice, solitude is often described as a supportive environment for awareness. When external noise decreases, the inner world becomes more visible. This can feel unfamiliar at first. Thoughts you normally avoid may appear. Emotions may surface. Memories may drift into awareness. But none of this is a mistake. It is simply your mind revealing what has always been there. Instead of pushing these experiences away, try meeting them with curiosity. You might notice that loneliness is not always constant. It rises and falls like a passing cloud. You might discover that moments of calm appear naturally when you stop resisting the quiet. Over time, the relationship with solitude begins to change. It no longer feels like something imposed on you. It becomes a space that belongs to you. The Buddha described true independence not as isolation, but as inner stability. When your sense of well-being does not depend entirely on external company, you carry peace with you wherever you go. This does not mean you stop valuing relationships. It means your happiness is no longer fragile when you are alone. Many people spend years trying to escape solitude, but those who learn to sit comfortably within it discover something surprising. Their time with others becomes richer, their conversations become more genuine, their presence becomes calmer. Because they are no longer seeking others to fill an emptiness, they meet others from a place of wholeness. And that transformation begins with a simple shift in understanding. Solitude is not evidence that something is wrong. It is an opportunity to meet life without distraction. The moment you stop resisting your own company, your own presence begins to feel less like emptiness and more like quiet companionship. Lesson 2. Learn to sit with yourself without escaping. One of the most powerful ways to find joy in your own company is to practice something that many people rarely allow themselves to do. Simply sit, not scrolling, not planning, not distracting yourself, just sitting quietly with your own presence. At first, this may sound almost too simple to matter, but if you try it honestly, you may notice something surprising. Sitting quietly with yourself can feel uncomfortable. Within moments, the mind begins to move. Thoughts appear about unfinished tasks. Memories surface from the past. Worries about the future begin to whisper. This restlessness is not unusual. In Buddhist teachings, the mind is often compared to a restless monkey, constantly jumping from one branch of thought to another. Most of the time, we manage this restlessness by staying busy. Work, conversations, entertainment, and responsibilities keep the mind occupied. But when you sit alone in silence, the movement becomes visible. Many people interpret this restlessness as a problem. They think, "I can't sit still. My mind is too busy." But the Buddha taught that noticing this activity is actually the beginning of wisdom. Before you can understand the mind, you must first observe it. So instead of trying to control your thoughts, begin with something gentler. Allow yourself to sit quietly for a few minutes each day. You do not need a special posture. You do not need perfect silence. Just sit somewhere comfortable. Let your hands rest naturally. Allow your body to relax and bring your attention to the breath, not forcing it, just noticing it. The breath is a simple anchor. It gives the mind something steady to return to whenever thoughts pull your attention away. You might notice the cool air entering through the nose, the slight expansion of the chest, the soft release as the breath leaves the body. At first, the mind will wander frequently. This is normal. Every time you notice the mind drifting into thought, gently guide it back to the breath. No criticism, no frustration, just a quiet return. This simple act, returning again and again, is the heart of mindfulness practice. Over time, something subtle begins to change. The restless movement of the mind slows. Moments of quiet awareness appear between thoughts. The space around your experiences becomes larger. Instead of feeling trapped inside your thoughts, you begin to observe them from a slight distance. This distance is important because it reveals something many people never realize. You are not your thoughts. Thoughts are events that appear in the mind, just like sounds appear in the air. They arise, stay for a moment, and then fade. When you sit quietly and observe this process, solitude starts to feel less threatening. You realize that the mind is simply moving through its natural patterns. Nothing needs to be fixed. Nothing needs to be avoided. This understanding brings a gentle form of freedom. You begin to feel comfortable in your own presence. Silence no longer feels empty. It becomes spacious. And within that space, something peaceful can grow. Joy in your own company does not appear because you entertain yourself perfectly. It appears because you learn to rest inside your own awareness, a calm companionship with your own mind. This is why Buddhist meditation is often practiced in solitude, not to escape the world, but to become familiar with the inner landscape that is always present. When you can sit peacefully with yourself, the fear of being alone begins to dissolve, and in its place, a quiet sense of contentment begins to emerge. Lesson 3. Rediscover the beauty of ordinary moments. One reason solitude feels empty for many people is surprisingly simple. They believe interesting moments only happen when something special is happening. A conversation, an event, a trip, a gathering with others. When these things are absent, the mind quietly concludes that nothing meaningful is occurring. But Buddhist wisdom gently challenges this assumption. The Buddha often emphasized that the richness of life does not come from extraordinary events. It comes from the depth of attention we bring to ordinary moments. When you live alone or spend significant time by yourself, everyday life may appear simple on the surface. You wake up, you prepare food, you clean your space, you walk somewhere, you rest. At first glance, these activities may seem repetitive or uneventful. But something interesting happens when you approach them with mindful awareness. They begin to reveal layers of experience that were always there but rarely noticed. Take something as simple as drinking tea or coffee. Many people drink it while looking at their phone, thinking about work, or planning the day ahead. The act itself becomes almost invisible. But try doing it differently. Sit quietly with your cup. Feel the warmth in your hands. Notice the aroma rising with the steam. Take a slow sip and pay attention to the taste. In that moment, nothing extraordinary has happened, and yet the experience feels surprisingly full. This is the quiet power of mindfulness. When attention deepens, ordinary life becomes rich again. The Buddha described mindfulness as a way of returning to direct experience instead of living constantly inside thought. When the mind is always racing ahead, planning, remembering, comparing, it misses the subtle beauty of what is already here. Solitude gives you a rare opportunity to rediscover this. Without the constant stimulation of conversation or activity, you have more space to notice the details of life. The sound of rain against a window, the rhythm of your footsteps during a walk, the way sunlight slowly moves across a room. These moments often go unnoticed when life is busy, but when you begin paying attention, they create a quiet sense of connection with the present moment. Over time, something changes in how solitude feels. Instead of seeing empty time that must be filled, you begin to see open space where experience can unfold naturally. A walk becomes an exploration of sounds and sensations. Preparing a meal becomes a simple meditation in movement. Even sitting by yourself becomes a moment of peaceful observation. This shift does not require dramatic lifestyle changes. It begins with small choices. When you eat, try eating slowly once in a while. When you walk, notice the movement of your body. When you clean your home, feel the rhythm of your actions instead of rushing to finish. At first, this may feel unfamiliar. The mind may keep trying to return to distraction, but with patience, attention becomes easier. And when attention deepens, appreciation follows naturally. You start noticing things that once seemed ordinary: the softness of quiet mornings, the comfort of a peaceful evening, the calm that exists when nothing urgent is happening. Gradually, the idea that joy requires excitement begins to dissolve. You discover a quieter form of happiness, not intense, not dramatic, but steady. This kind of happiness grows from presence. It grows when the mind stops chasing stimulation and begins experiencing life directly. People who learn this skill rarely feel bored when they are alone, because they realize something profound. The present moment always contains more richness than the distracted mind can see, and solitude gives you the space to rediscover it. Lesson 4. Become your own compassionate companion. For many people, the hardest part of being alone is not the silence. It is the way they speak to themselves within that silence. When there are no external conversations, the inner voice becomes clearer. And unfortunately, this inner voice is often harsh. You might notice thoughts like, "I should be doing more," "I'm falling behind," "I shouldn't feel this way." Sometimes the mind replays past mistakes or criticizes small imperfections. When this happens, solitude can feel heavy, not because being alone is painful, but because the relationship with yourself becomes tense. Buddhist teachings place great importance on something called loving kindness or metta. This practice begins with a simple but powerful idea. You deserve the same compassion you would offer to someone you care about. Think about how you treat a good friend who is struggling. You would not constantly criticize them. You would not remind them of every mistake. You would likely listen, speak gently, and encourage them with patience. But many people treat themselves in the exact opposite way. They expect perfection. They judge themselves harshly. They withhold kindness. When you spend time alone, this inner dynamic becomes more visible. But instead of seeing this as a problem, it can become an opportunity to transform your relationship with yourself. Start by noticing the tone of your inner voice. When self-critical thoughts appear, pause for a moment. Ask yourself quietly, would I speak to someone I love in this way? If the answer is no, gently soften the tone. You might respond to your own thoughts with a simple phrase like, "It's okay to be learning. I am allowed to grow at my own pace. I can treat myself with patience." At first, this may feel unusual. The mind is often used to harshness, and kindness may seem unfamiliar. But kindness is not weakness. In Buddhist wisdom, kindness is considered a form of strength because it reduces unnecessary suffering. When you speak to yourself with gentleness, the emotional atmosphere inside your mind changes. Solitude begins to feel safer. Your inner world becomes less like a courtroom and more like a place of understanding. Another helpful practice is placing a hand on your chest or simply pausing when difficult emotions arise. Instead of trying to push feelings away, acknowledge them quietly. You might say to yourself, This moment is difficult, but I am here with myself. These small gestures may seem simple, but they gradually reshape the way you experience being alone. Instead of facing your thoughts and emotions as an enemy, you begin meeting them as a companion. Over time, this compassionate relationship becomes deeply stabilizing. When challenges appear in life, you know you can respond with patience rather than harsh judgment. When loneliness arises, you do not abandon yourself emotionally, you remain present. The Buddha taught that true refuge is not something outside of us. It is the ability to meet life with awareness and compassion. When you develop kindness toward yourself, solitude transforms. You are no longer just by yourself. You are with yourself, and that subtle shift makes all the difference. Your own presence begins to feel supportive rather than uncomfortable. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to feel less dependent on external validation. And gradually, you realize something beautiful. The companionship you were searching for outside has quietly begun to grow within. Lesson 5. Transform quiet time into inner discovery. When people first begin spending more time alone, they often assume solitude is empty space, time that must be filled, silence that must be escaped. But Buddhist wisdom suggests something very different. Solitude is not empty. It is spacious. And in that spaciousness, something remarkable becomes possible. You begin to discover the inner landscape that usually remains hidden beneath the noise of daily life. Most of the time, our attention is directed outward. We focus on conversations, responsibilities, news, messages, and expectations. The mind becomes busy responding to the world. This outward focus is not wrong, it is part of living. But when there is no time for quiet reflection, the relationship with yourself remains shallow. You may know what others expect from you. You may know what your schedule demands, yet you may not fully understand your own inner life. Solitude creates the conditions for this understanding to grow. Instead of filling every quiet moment with distraction, you can begin asking gentle questions. Not questions that pressure you, but questions that invite curiosity. For example, when you sit quietly, you might ask yourself, "What am I feeling right now? Is there something in my life that needs more attention? What truly brings me peace?" These questions are not meant to produce immediate answers. They simply open the door to awareness. Sometimes an answer will appear quickly. Other times, nothing seems to arise. Both experiences are perfectly natural. Inner discovery is not a task to complete. It is a relationship that deepens slowly over time. The Buddha often encouraged reflection as a path toward wisdom. When the mind becomes calm and attentive, insights appear naturally. You might begin noticing patterns in your emotions. You might see which activities nourish you and which ones quietly drain your energy. You might discover values that matter deeply to you but have been overlooked in the rush of everyday life. These realizations often appear softly, like small lights turning on in a dark room, and they rarely happen when the mind is constantly distracted. This is why solitude can be such a powerful teacher. It removes the usual noise that keeps us moving on the surface of life. Instead, it invites us to explore what lies beneath. You might try keeping a journal during moments of solitude. Not writing perfectly structured thoughts, just allowing your mind to express whatever is present. Sometimes a single sentence can reveal something important. Other times, writing simply clears mental space. Another helpful practice is mindful walking. Take a slow walk without music or conversation. Let your thoughts move naturally while you observe the world around you. Often, clarity appears when the mind is relaxed and unforced. Over time, these quiet moments of reflection begin to change how you experience being alone. Instead of feeling like time that must be filled, solitude becomes meaningful space. A space where understanding grows, a space where creativity appears, a space where your own inner voice becomes easier to hear. Many people spend years searching for direction outside themselves, but the answers they seek are often waiting in moments of stillness. When you give yourself permission to explore your inner world with patience and curiosity, solitude stops feeling empty. It becomes a quiet journey of discovery, and the companion you discover along the way is your own awareness. Lesson 6. Create personal rituals that nourish your mind. One of the simplest ways to find joy in your own company is to create small rituals that give shape and warmth to your time alone. When people think of rituals, they often imagine formal religious ceremonies or strict traditions. But in everyday life, a ritual can be something very simple, a small, intentional moment that you return to regularly. These moments may appear ordinary from the outside, but they create a quiet sense of stability and care within your daily life. In Buddhist practice, rituals are not performed for perfection. They are performed to bring attention and presence into the present moment. You can create similar rituals in your own life. For example, you might begin your morning with a few minutes of quiet breathing before looking at your phone. This small pause gently anchors the mind before the day begins. You might prepare tea or coffee slowly, noticing each step instead of rushing through it, grinding the beans, pouring the water, watching the steam rise. These simple acts become calming when you give them your full attention. Another ritual could be an evening reflection. At the end of the day, sit quietly for a moment and ask yourself 3 gentle questions. What brought me peace today? What challenged me? What am I grateful for? This practice shifts the mind from constant evaluation to quiet appreciation. Over time, these rituals become familiar companions. They create moments where you reconnect with yourself, regardless of how busy or quiet your day has been. The beauty of personal rituals is that they transform ordinary routines into meaningful experiences. Cooking becomes a moment of creativity. Cleaning your home becomes an act of care for your environment. Reading becomes a space where the mind expands. Even lighting a candle or opening a window in the morning can become a small ritual of intention. When you live alone or spend significant time by yourself, these rituals can create a gentle rhythm in your life. They remind you that your presence matters, your time matters, your environment matters. Many people only create meaningful experiences when others are involved. But Buddhist wisdom encourages a different perspective. You can bring mindfulness and care into moments that belong entirely to you. When you treat your own time with respect and attention, solitude begins to feel nourishing rather than empty. Your home becomes a peaceful space instead of a place to simply pass time. Your daily actions become small expressions of self-respect, and gradually you begin to enjoy the quiet rhythm of your life. Joy does not always arrive through excitement. Sometimes it grows through repetition. A familiar cup of tea, a quiet evening walk, a few minutes of calm breathing. These rituals may seem small, but they create a steady sense of grounding. They remind you that your life is not waiting to begin when others arrive. Your life is already unfolding here, in the quiet moments you share with yourself. And when those moments are treated with care, they become deeply satisfying. Lesson 7. Realize you were never truly alone. At some point in the journey of learning to enjoy your own company, a quiet realization begins to appear. The feeling of being alone slowly changes its meaning. At first, solitude may feel like separation. You sit in a quiet room and the mind whispers that something is missing. But as mindfulness deepens and self-compassion grows, that sense of separation begins to soften. You start noticing that even in silence, life is still unfolding all around you. The sound of wind moving through trees, the distant hum of a city, the rhythm of your own breath. These small reminders reveal something simple but powerful. You are not separate from life. You are part of it. Buddhist teachings often speak about interconnection, the idea that everything in existence is linked in subtle ways. The air you breathe has traveled through forests, oceans, and countless living beings. The food you eat has grown from soil, sunlight, and rain. Even the thoughts in your mind are shaped by experiences, conversations, and teachings you have encountered throughout your life. When you reflect on this deeply, the idea of being completely alone begins to fade. You realize that solitude does not mean disconnection. It simply means you are spending time in your own presence within the vast web of life. This understanding can bring a surprising sense of comfort. You begin to feel less isolated. Instead of viewing solitude as being cut off from others, you begin to see it as a quiet place within a much larger world. From this perspective, your own company becomes meaningful. You are witnessing life through your unique awareness. Your thoughts, experiences, and reflections are part of the unfolding human story. And when you treat your inner world with respect and curiosity, you contribute something peaceful to that story. Many people spend their lives searching for happiness in constant companionship. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us that peace does not depend on always being surrounded by others. Peace comes from understanding the nature of the mind and learning to live with it gently. When you feel comfortable in your own presence, relationships with others also change. You no longer seek people to escape loneliness. You connect with them from a place of calm and authenticity. Your conversations become more sincere. Your listening becomes deeper because you are no longer afraid of silence. And when you return home to your own space, you do not feel emptiness waiting for you. You feel familiarity, a quiet sense of belonging within yourself. This is one of the greatest freedoms Buddhist teachings offer. The realization that peace is not something you must chase outside. It is something you cultivate inside, moment by moment. And once you discover that peace, solitude no longer feels like absence. It feels like presence, your own presence. Learning to enjoy your own company is not about withdrawing from life. It is about discovering that peace already exists within your awareness. When you become comfortable with yourself, solitude turns into quiet joy rather than loneliness. If this reflection brought you calm or insight, consider subscribing to Mindfulness for more teachings on Buddhist wisdom, inner peace, and mindful living. May you move through life gently and always feel at home within yourself.